It doesn't work that way.
Yeah. We'll get you through it.
But I'm
All right.
I'm happy to
I would like to call this meeting to order dated February 6th, 2024. The time is now 6:30. Roll call, please.
Trustee Zazzaro.
Here.
Trustee Hartz.
Here.
Trustee Moreland.
Here.
Trustee Thomas. Trustee Wolf. Trustee Ah.
Here.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Here. Would everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? All right, does the board have any conflicts of interest to announce at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to public input. If any members of the audience would like to address the board, please state your name and address for the record on items not pertaining to anything on the agenda. All right, seeing none. Did everybody get a chance to look at the agenda?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Zazzaro.
Yes.
Trustee Hartz.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Wolf.
Yes.
Trustee Ah.
Yes.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes. All right, community reports and requests. Tree board. We had a nice turnout, it seemed, tonight. Who wants to give that update?
So we actually met tonight, and this is our first meeting of 2024, and we will have 5 meetings in 2024. Our first one was tonight. The next one will be April 2nd, and of course that'll also be the election night. And we may either hold that meeting upstairs or in the senior center. Keep in mind that we will not be holding our regular meeting here because of the election that night. So we talked about Arbor Day probably more than anything. So I'll let Mark kind of give you a little more details on the Arbor Day event.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Board of Trustees. Yeah, so we're set for April 25th for Arbor Day. We are still waiting for a specific time. We're going to have the Bayfield Primary School attend that event. We're shooting for 10 or 11 in the morning at Eagle Park for Arbor Day. We're going to do trees in Eagle Park. I have a selection of trees that I would like to get that I'm going to pass around to the board. We're also waiting for information on the grant that I applied for to see how many trees that we can get. We do have money in capital improvements that we're going to purchase some ourselves. So yeah, April 25th, 10 to 11, Eagle Park. We're looking probably 90 to 100 kids that are going to attend. Dustin is coordinating all that with the school. We're going to do a poster contest like we do every year. Of course, we'll have the proclamation for you to sign. And then just a little clinic with the kids on how to plant trees and take care of them and why they're important to our community. And that's basically about the down on that. Where'd you
I can cover some of the other items too.
go? Yeah, and Nicole's got the other stuff that we discussed, but as far as our Arbor Day event, that's basically what we're doing.
We're shooting for around 10 or 11 at Eagle Park, and the reason for that is we have a shade structure over there. We also have a bathroom. Going to be lots of little ones there. Really excited about the poster contest. We picked a theme. We were doing Rooted in Community and Reaching for the Stars was our theme. So we're going to have that contest, get those pictures to the tree board by that April 2nd meeting so we can pick winners, and then have the winners come in and receive their prizes from you guys. So it's going to be a really fun event. Looking forward to it. I've been in contact with Miss Alderton, the principal at the primary school. She's thankful we got the date to her early so she can work on the busing and stuff. And I was waiting for the tree board to meet for ideas, and I will send her the poster idea tomorrow and let the kids get competitive, and it'll be fun to see what they come up with.
Yeah, and a couple other things we talked about, the Waterwise Sonoran Institute group that we were chosen to participate in, which is connecting water and water conservation efforts with land use. And right now we're going through the data phase. We've collected 5 years of data for every property in the town that uses water, and just kind of looking at where some of our heavy hitters are, but really putting together some educational materials for existing residents on how they can conserve water, what types of landscaping are drought tolerant, native to our area that use less water, and then also tree species, and how to take care of their trees and choose trees that are appropriate for our area. So we'll be putting out a lot of information to the public through this process, and then also probably some code changes in terms of what new construction could look like with landscaping standards moving forward. So more to come on that, but we talked about that. Also talked about looking at a workshop possibly where we can get some pruning experts, arborists to come and maybe look at an area in the community that, like for instance, our old growth orchard in the central area of our Joe Stevenson Master Park area. We have the old orchard, and maybe we can have an arborist come and experiment, or not experiment, but demonstrate on one tree proper pruning, and maybe combine that with some public outreach for our water-wise process. So another event that we are just kind of talking about. We have no specifics on dates or anything like that yet. And then just block parties, again, getting information out there to the community. At our block parties, we like to kind of choose a theme for each block party of what's at the town booth and offer information. So maybe have something centered around trees for one of our block parties this summer. I don't know if you want to add anything else.
All right, good job on that.
Yeah.
Glad people showed up. There was a good turnout. All right, moving on to the Women's Resource Center. I understand we do have representatives from the Resource Center here. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Tammy Tyner. I'm the Executive Director at Women's Resource Center, and my new address is 120 County Road 236 in Durango. So thank you all for inviting us once again. Women's Resource Center advocates for the personal empowerment and economic self-sufficiency of women and girls in La Plata County. And we have been privileged with tremendous support from town of Bayfield for the past 10 years for our Get Your Girl Power program, which is a program we do in the school for 5th grade girls at Bayfield Intermediate School. And the focus, there are really 4 pillars that this program helps with. And those are healthy nutrition, advocacy, healthy relationships, and positive self-image. And these are all things that we have found in working with the counselors and talking to the students that are really important as they transition on into middle school. So this programming has been absolutely phenomenal. As I said, we've been really privileged to have support from you all for the past 10 years. And the objectives of this program, when we go into the school, it's a one-day workshop, and we pull in facilitators from other organizations within the county. And so we try to show girls the importance of healthy eating and living a healthy lifestyle, how to identify bullying behaviors, intervene on behalf of others, embrace diversity and accept others, discuss and role play the keys to good communication and healthy relationships with an emphasis on the impact of cyber awareness. We reiterate the importance, that was hilarious, reiterate the importance of staying in school and how with an education, any dream is attainable. We make sure that the girls know that every girl can grow up to become a self-confident, self-sufficient leader in the community. And we help girls understand that leaders are real people who believe in themselves and can do anything they set their minds to. So last year you all granted us $1,500, and we served 50 girls with that. We're looking at the same proposal this year. That's only $30 per student to help those girls transition into high school. This year, we welcome back 3 of the facilitators from last year. Manna is going to have an intro to healthy nutrition. They're going to have a snack bar with all kinds of healthy snacks, and the kids at the beginning of the day get to create their own trail mix that they're going to take on throughout the day with them. Say So, the Sexual Assault Services Organization, is going to provide a workshop on resilience, cyber safety, and conflict resolution. The Hive in Durango will provide a workshop on conflict resolution and identifying and self-expression. And then this year, unfortunately, Pine River Library did not have the capacity to provide the workshop this year. So instead, a little known organization that has popped up that I'm sure you all have heard nothing of, Pam with Pine River Shares, is going to jump in and provide a workshop this year. So we are really excited to partner with her and Pine River Shares. Really, what I believe the best way to promote this to you all is to share a bit of information from the girls who went through the program themselves. So some of the feedback that we got from the girls, 100% of them said that they had fun and would do it again. That's pretty cool. 98 learned how to eat healthier. 98% learned how to feel safer online. 96% recognized the importance of staying in school. 95% learned ways to feel better when they're feeling bad. 95% learned ways to have stronger, more healthy relationships. 95% learned to embrace diversity. 93% learned how to respond to conflicts with other people. 91% identified successful ways to stay motivated in achieving goals. 90% learned how to stick with something even when it gets hard. And 83% felt more empowered to solve problems on their own. So this is very impactful. I don't want to just continue to read in front of you guys, but like I said, it's really important that those voices are heard. So just a few of the comments that we did get from the girls on their way out. We always ask them to share how they felt about the workshops that they went through. And I'll just share a couple. But so much fun. I had a great day. If you're unsure about something, go talk to an adult. Appreciate your friends, for they have value. This was fun, and we got a break from the boys. Eating healthy tastes good. Thank you for the food and for this lovely day. I made friends I didn't have before. Be yourself, but be safe doing it. And thank you. So I just want to remind you all that for about $30 per student, we can provide skills and tools that will help Bayfield girls transition into middle school. So with that, I'd love to ask if you all have any questions.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for your past support, and we really appreciate being invited again.
I just kind of want to get the feeling of the board. We have a decision to make here on funding it at all, or giving the full request amount, or doing a partial. So I just kind of want to get a feeling on what.
Our grants only go to 1,000.
Yeah, I mean, it's early in the
Is it
season.
two?
I love the program. My niece went through the program. She had a great time. You know, I think we kind of tried to scale back a little bit on it. We do have, I mean, it's early in the year, so we got to think about that. But we do have our 1,000 grants. So just, you know, any feeling on that?
Did we just do the 5,000 this year? Or did we do?
We have the 5 for 1,000, and we have 5 for 500.
Did we use all the grants last year?
We didn't.
Okay.
Well, we did right at the end. We had
Right at the end,
creative,
yeah.
Well, I applaud your initiative in getting here as quickly as possible this year, so I'm all for the full amount.
I agree.
Yeah, I think people should be coming to the meetings if these are available and scooping them up. And, I mean, we did the same amount last year, and, I mean, it sounds like it's really making an impact in our community, so I see no problem.
Do we have to do a vote or just direction, Katie?
So it does come to the Board of Trustees for your determination, so I would say it would be a vote.
Then I would entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to award the Women's Resource Center their full request of $1,500 to support their program through our grant application process.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Trustee Cesaro,
Yes.
Trustee Harts,
Yes.
Trustee Moreland,
Yes.
Trustee Wolf,
Yes.
Trustee Ah,
Yes.
and Mayor Tarkington.
Yes. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank
For
you.
information. Thank you. Okay, at this time, I will pause the regular meeting and open up our public hearing section. We have two today. The first one, Land Use Code amending Table 4, Section 4, and Article 8, Pet Stores Ordinance 496.
Yes, good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the board. I'm Nicole Killian, Director of Community Development. And this item was at the board's request to look at this, so staff did put some together and went to the Planning Commission last month, and the Planning Commission did vote to recommend approval of this with one that was against the motion, but 6-1 approving this ordinance change to the land use code. And so what this will do is it'll amend our Table 441, which has our permitted uses. Right now, pet stores are not a specific use in the code. They just fall under all other retail. And so this would actually create a specific use in our code for pet stores. And then that allows us to have, in our notes section, a reference, and then that reference has use-specific standards. And so that section would be to not allow pet stores to sell, barter, auction, or give away or otherwise transfer, dispose of cats or dogs, but they can work with our animal care facilities, animal rescue organizations, the shelters, to offer space for those entities to have dogs adopted or cats adopted, but the stores cannot actually sell the animals. Right now, we don't have any pet stores, so this would be just kind of a preemptive in the code for in the future if we do have any interested pet stores. The other thing that, because of some of the language in that specific standards, there's a couple definitions that also need to be added to the land use code, and that's animal care facility, animal rescue organization, breeder, and broker. And again, we got a lot of this language, we got a lot of this language from other communities in the state that have adopted similar ordinances. So we weren't reinventing the wheel, we were utilizing what's already been done in other communities in the state. And so the Planning Commission, like I said, did recommend approval of this at their January 9th meeting, 6-1. They adopted Resolution 24-01 as their support for this item to come before the board. And there is a motion of, if you're willing to approve this, it would be Ordinance 496 would be needs to be part of your motion. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have of staff.
No, I mean, I think it's gone back and forth quite a few times. It's been looked over quite a bit, I think. I mean, I think the Planning Commission did a good job of bringing up some issues and kind of walking through that, but.
Can we ask what they
Yeah.
are?
Well, we
For
just.
the planning committee?
Yeah, there was
What they brought up?
just some, I mean, we wanted to see what other municipalities were doing
Yeah.
before we were like, oh, we should, to make decisions on these things, but.
Yeah, there wasn't too much concern from the Planning Commission. I think the one vote that was against it didn't give any reasons why he voted against it, so we didn't know exactly
Okay.
what his reasons were. But the rest of the Planning Commission were supportive of.
I mean, I
of
think
the pet
everybody felt like
stores.
this is something we should get ahead of now since we don't have pet stores, and then we don't have to come back and revisit this at all, so.
Well, not only that, but they're starting to adopt it all over the place, and so those organizations that are selling from puppy mills are gonna start looking for other places, which would be our small little town, and then all of a sudden we have those issues. So I think it's a good thing. I don't agree with puppy mills, how they're kept, how they're bred, any of that, so.
Yes, I think I was actually pushing to see when this was getting on our agenda, since that, I don't remember when that one
It was a while ago,
individual
yeah.
came in, but I'm like, when are we
It
getting
was
on
like
this?
6, 7 months ago.
Yeah, we had said that we wanted to get through the comprehensive plan first before we start doing some code changes.
Mhm.
You guys, any questions or comments? Okay. We can move on to our,
It's a public hearing.
oh, sorry. Yes, public comment. We'll open up for public comment. See, I've revisited this a few times in the planning commission stage, so.
I know, and poor mayor has heard this.
It's okay.
Here I go again. And good evening, Joyce Cohen, 20 Creekside Drive in Durango. And first of all, thank you so much for really seriously considering this ordinance. I haven't had the opportunity to interact with you, so hearing these comments is heartening, but I can't read minds, so my thought was to just tell you what I have run into as some concerns in the past with the ordinance, just in case any of you had these concerns. And one of the lesser concerns that I've heard is that, this is a slippery slope, and next thing you know, we're going to be regulating cows and chickens, and to that I say, that's apples and oranges. Here we're talking about companion animals, not commodities. I mean, we don't use dogs and cats for food and clothing, and conversely, I'm going to go out on a limb and say we probably don't sleep with our cows and our chickens and take them on vacations and go out to eat with them. So these are pets, not farm animals. The second more common concern I had is that people don't like to regulate businesses. And, sometimes the government has to step in and regulate business. Unfortunately, the free market just doesn't always right the wrongs of business. And I liken this to child labor laws. You have to protect those that can't protect themselves. And in this case, of course, the animals have no voice here. Also, when things that most people consider immoral or unethical, the government steps in. We don't sell cigarettes and alcohol to minors. We regulate the pornography industry. And, again, this is something that I think most, puppy mills, kitten mills, I think are something that most people would find unethical. And that, unfortunately, the public just isn't educated on this. They don't know that when they buy a puppy or a kitten from a pet store, they don't know where it comes from. So again, we have to protect, it's not just the animals, but it's consumers, because these animals are treated so poorly. First of all, they're paying extravagant prices for these animals, and then they, I sent you articles, I don't know, but the animals are often so sick that they die. I mean, the article I sent you is a lawsuit, I think, against a pet store that they take no responsibility. They sell sick animals, it costs thousands of dollars in vet bills, and the pet stores take no responsibility. So this is why government has to step in on this issue. The only other reason I have heard was Durango, and they were unique, and what they told me was that their city attorney told them that they would get sued if they passed this ordinance. And he also told them that there was no case law to guide them on this, when in fact there's been 12 cases that have been decided by both state and federal courts, and in all 12 cases, the law has been upheld as both legal and constitutional. And given that there are no pet stores in Durango that sell puppies and kittens, the likelihood of them being sued is pretty much nil. And given that there is so much precedent now, even if a pet store wanted to sue to come into town, they're not going to win because the courts have already decided this is legal. And lastly, I just want to impress upon you the importance of curbing the amount of dogs and cats that we have in the community. Our shelters are in crisis, adoptions are down, euthanasias are up, and last year, over 5,000 dogs were imported into Colorado. I know, I know. And just a reminder also that, responsible breeders are not affected by this law. It's just puppy mills. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there any other public comment? Okay. We'll move on to our second public hearing, our municipal code amending Article 2, Section 3, definitions, dog license, and kennels ordinance 497. Actually, this is the one that went back and forth a few more
Yes.
times.
Yeah. So again, we just decided to put all the pet stuff on the agenda together. But we're currently in our municipal code, we have sections on the requirement to license dogs in the town limits, as well as what a kennel is. Both of those sections have fees associated with them in the ordinance, which translate into the municipal code. So the first thing we want to do is remove the fees from the code and put them into a resolution. So the resolution can be amended from time to time. A lot simpler process than redoing the ordinances and the codes. So that was the first thing. The second thing is just clarifying some of the language in terms of what a kennel is. We didn't have a definition for a kennel, but we had a whole section on a kennel. So putting in a definition of what a kennel is into our code, as well as looking at our dog license process. And so this one did have some back and forth and some questions because we were looking at, talking about the fees. There were requests from planning commissioners as to what other communities in our area and our region are doing in terms of pet licensing and fees. And so staff did go back and do some research on that and reached out to some communities to understand how they're processing dog license fees. And all of our communities, so La Plata County, Durango, Ignacio, Cortez, Pagosa Springs, we all have dog licensing requirements in our communities and in the county. And so that's not unusual. All of us kind of charge different fees, so what we're looking at is something similar to what La Plata County does. Because if our police department needs assistance, then we'd be using the La Plata County, what are they called? The animal?
Humane Society.
Yeah, but what's the officer called? Animal control, thank you. So they would be assisting us if we needed something like that in the community. And so just being consistent with the county as a whole in terms of fees and how we process that. So a couple of the big changes, again, definition for kennel, rewriting the whole tag, collar, dog license fee section to, again, kind of define how many dogs and cats we want to see in a certain residence before it really becomes a nuisance to maybe neighbors, as well as, cats aren't really part of this, so instead of just saying tag, collar, fee, we're calling it dog license. That's really what it is. It's so changing the name of that section. Also, we're looking at, we want to have it more specific on the age of dogs, as well as looking at some possible reductions in cost for anybody who's over the age of 65, as well as spayed and neutered. What I've seen in other communities is like Ignacio, La Plata County, all of them, they have a different fee for altered dogs versus unaltered dogs. And again, that kind of goes back to being responsible and trying to encourage our residents to alter their dogs, if especially if they're not a breeder. And so you'll get a discount if you have, if you can prove that your dog's spayed or neutered, and you can usually get that from your vet that occurred, or from the Humane Society if you got your dog from the Humane Society. And so just spelling some of that out into this section, as well as that the fees will now be approved through a resolution versus just spelled out into the ordinance. And then for kennels, just cleaning up that language. It was a little confusing on how it was written, where it says households more than 3 dogs or cats. So is that 3 total? So we kind of rewrote it to 3 cats, 3 dogs, or a combination of 4 of those. And so if you have 4 or more of those animals, then you're technically considered a kennel, where there's other restrictions and requirements and where you can be located, and you need to go through a land use process for that type of permit, versus having dogs and cats on your property. And so again, trying to balance that with our nuisance laws in the code. for the number. And again, there was that was one of the other things the planning commission went back and forth as, what's the number? How do we want, how many, do we want to regulate in a household versus calling it a kennel? So those were some of the things we went back and forth on as well. So I did, on the bottom of page 3, I did kind of look at limits, what other communities are doing for their limits too. County doesn't really list anything. Durango has no more than 3 dogs or cats. Ignacio, no more than 2 dogs. Pagosa has up to 3 dogs, and Cortez has no more than 4 dogs. So those are their numbers before they become a kennel license in those other communities as well. And then I also kind of went through kind of statewide, so what Denver is doing, Colorado Springs, Monument, Castle Rock. Those are the ones I could really find easily online through searches for what other communities are doing in the state. And again, if you're inclined to adopt this, there is an ordinance as part of it, so that would be Ordinance 497, but then also the Resolution 606, which spells out the fee schedule that we would like to start with at this point in time, which is right now we charge $3 per dog or cat, or sorry, no cats, per dog. So the fee would go up to $5 per dog. And that just kind of helps cover our administrative cost and the process. And we put it into a format for the police department to be able to access if their officers are out there and they come across a dog on a property and they want to know that the dog has their rabies shots and they've been vaccinated. And so so there's some administrative work to that. Again, seniors, I'm sorry, I misspoke, $10 per dog. And that's if they're spayed or neutered with proof of the procedure. Seniors 65 and over would be the $5 per dog if they have an altered dog. And then all unneutered dogs would be $25 per dog, and this is per year. And then a replacement tag. So the other thing that we're talking about is you get a metal tag from the town when you register your dog. And right now we get a new one every year. So every time you register your dog, you get a new tag. And so instead of doing that, the thought was to allow them to keep the tags as long as the tags are good and you can read them. If they lose a tag or the tag gets destroyed for some reason, then you just would pay $5 for a new tag. But you don't have to do that every year, only if needed. So instead of the town purchasing a bunch of metal tags every year, we'd like them to be reused if possible. And so the replacement tag would be $5. Clear as mud?
Yeah.
So I'm happy to answer any questions about this. It's a lot of information, but hopefully it'll clean up the process. The other thing that we talked a lot about is how often, because everybody gets their dog's rabies shots at different times throughout the year, and it's every 3 years. And so we tied it to like what we do for business licenses. It's once a year you come in, you take care of it. It's not our staff having to track, has it been 3 years, or they're due in April, this one's due in October, and everyone's so different. So when we start getting a lot of these, which we have 50 now registered, which before we started advertising that we were changing this, we didn't have hardly any. So we've had a lot of people come in recently to register their dogs. And so we just want to keep it simple for everybody to know every year at the beginning of the year, but also for our staff to know that they're all coming in at the beginning of the year versus randomly, and you have to track when tags are due and all of that. So that's the other suggestion is they have till February 1 of each year to come in and re-register. Even if they only get rabies every 3 years, you would just, you provide that paperwork. We know it's on file, but we just want to make sure that your dog's still living in the area, you haven't moved, and that we can still track them. So every year. So happy to answer any questions.
I have a question.
Yep.
So what exactly, having this license, what does it do for the town?
So a couple of things. Like I mentioned, it helps our police officers. They have access to the database so that if an officer is showing up to a home and there's a dog, they can confirm that the dog's been vaccinated and has a license through the town. It also will help them if the dog is running loose and has no other tag, but it has the town registered tag. We can put the number in the system and know where that dog's from, so we can reunite animals that are on the loose with their family members if they don't have a tag with the phone number or anything like that. So those are probably the two biggest ones.
Okay.
Is protecting our officers and also reuniting pets with their families.
So I'd like to elaborate a little bit on the ordinance. So what we've been doing is pulling off fees outside of the municipal code and into resolutions. So that's one major portion of this ordinance, that the public hearing is for ordinance 497, and that's basically taking the fee structure off of the ordinance. And then that's why Community Development Director Killian described the resolution that's not necessarily part of this public hearing, but it is, eventually, we would ask that you adopt those together.
Makes sense.
So this is over a 300% increase in the fee.
Yep,
From
the fee
when?
was
For-
established in 1989, so
Okay.
it's been a
Okay.
little while.
It's just that people coming
Yeah.
in,
Well-
they're coming in now knowing that fee's gonna go up, and we've had more people come in knowing that than we've had not knowing that. So I don't know if we wanna go to 10 right away. Since
Yeah.
you've had 50 dog owners come in,
Well, we have 50 now. We've had
Okay.
some before that. I don't know exactly how many have come in since.
like,
I mean, we used to do a big drive. We did a day here. It was like,
We did a block party where I think we had 4 people come for the block party to register. We know we have a lot more dogs than 50 in the town. And like I said, we really chose those costs based on the county, being consistent with the county. Other places are a little bit more. Ignacio's a little less for unaltered, but we kind of just wanted to be consistent with the county. So that's why we chose those.
what's Ignacio and Cortez?
So Ignacio's $10 for altered, like we're proposing, but they're only 15 for unaltered, and we're proposing 25. Cortez is 10 and 25, so it's the same as what we're proposing. The county's 10 and 25, and Durango's 10 and 55 for unaltered. So we're aligned with Cortez in La Plata County. We're $10 over for unaltered than Ignacio, and we're, $30 less than Durango.
What are the repercussions if a dog at large is picked up and they can't get a hold of the owner? Take them to the pound?
The Humane Society.
Humane Society in Durango?
And then Humane Society can look for a chip if they have a chip on them. Otherwise, I think people that lose a dog may check the Humane Society regularly, from my understanding, in hopes that they find them. But I don't know if Chief wants to elaborate on that. His officers are the ones who usually deal with that.
Well, and that's why I ask. I mean, my dog was picked up a couple months ago, and then I had a great conversation with at the time, the marshals. But, so if there's no repercussion to this, I'm fearful that we're not going to get any more than 54 people to register their dogs. If there's not an impact, like I've lived here for 25 years, and I've had dogs I've never once registered a dog. My dog currently is not registered, but he's chipped.
Right.
He has a collar, and so I don't know how to say this publicly. I just want to make sure that this isn't just taking up black and white space in our booklet.
Well, there is, so I think there's, if you're repeat offenders, there's stuff in our municipal code about court. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, Chief.
Usually fees go up, or fines go up after second, third offenses.
I mean, I think it's just going to take an educational component, it's like getting the word out about everything. I mean, we should have this in place.
Sure,
like
I know.
said.
And I personally didn't know about it until they started doing the drive
Right.
at the block party, and I was like, oh.
So
I think
they-
that's what we're
Wasn't
hearing
aware.
from a lot of people, is they didn't know.
Yeah.
And so we're just trying to educate.
So an experience I had in another community is that I got a phone call from somebody in Aurora that found the town's tag on a dog, and I was able to locate the owner that had moved, and so they could get their dog versus it going to the Humane Society and ending up somewhere in some Denver shelter. So, I mean, that was one experience that I had. So it would be a benefit, but.
And I don't know, Chief, again, you might not know this, but if you go to the Humane Society to pick up your dog, is there a fee?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Big
So-
time. Big time.
Yeah, so this would prevent that too. If your license and the police department find the dog, they can just return it.
Yeah.
And
I was very
paying-
grateful of the officers. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, versus-
I'd say it saved me a fee, but I was just curious to how do we, with getting the word out there, but it's like if they're, yes, that is it, right? But then how often does a dog get out? It's few and far between in all reality. Let's say we have
Hopefully,
200 dogs in town. I just was curious more
Yeah.
than anything, Nicole.
And I really like the fact that our officers can check to see if they are up to date on their rabies and that sort of thing. Having had my husband bit by a dog,
Yeah.
would have been nice to know that.
Is there code enforcement if a dog is picked up and it's not licensed?
Yes,
So
if we had code enforcement.
Yeah.
have a code
Well,
Okay, yeah,
this-
well, that's what I'm saying, is what's the,
This helps us
Yeah.
to also enforce those codes a little bit better too.
And hopefully when we can afford a code enforcer, then they already have it in set in play.
I mean, if
to-
you look at the Nextdoor app right now, like, that's all it is. There's cats and dogs running around
Right.
all over town.
Right.
I mean, that's,
So, there are, but there's also like.
turtles.
This community's
Turtles.
extremely good about,
Yeah.
if you have a tag on and it
Hey,
says,
yeah.
call my owner and the phone number, you don't need a license.
Well, most people
And most-
would, yeah.
Yeah, most
But,
people would do
You know,
that.
I will say, if there's a dog that's looking a little different breed, I may not approach it.
Right.
I won't.
And so then I'd be calling the police and talking and telling them, and they might, be concerned. So I mean, different breeds,
Oh,
I
I
would be
know.
cautious
I
about approaching.
understand.
Most dogs, yeah, you'd go up and say, "Do you have a collar?" But I don't know if I would approach every dog.
Right.
Those little chihuahuas, they'll bite your ankle off.
I mean, so
my
I think-
Chihuahua cost me $150. He went to
Yeah.
doggy jail. That's how I know. It's
so
expensive.
Nicole, is this, effective, like, if we approve this, if you already have your pet licensed, is it now you have to, March 1st, you have to come in and
No.
re-up,
No.
or?
So if you got your pet license based on our old ordinance, then once you're need a vaccine again, then you need to start coming in through the new ordinance.
Okay, but we have to do this annually, but the rabies vaccination, I don't believe
3
is.
years. It's
Yes.
3 years.
So, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Except for puppies. Puppies is only last 1 year. And then it's 3 years after they're one, or.
Better go get the puppy vaccinated.
Are there any other
Need to get this done
questions or
early.
comments from the board?
Yeah, and this is a public hearing.
I will open it up to the public. Does anybody from the public have anything to say or comments? All right, you can state your name and address for the record, please.
Laura McLaurin.
Will you pick that mic? Yeah.
I got a big voice. Laura McLaurin, 32 West North Street. I just think the registration I was just trying to look up how common rabies is out here, but it is important to get them vaccinated and to know that they've been vaccinated. I think that's important because I've done research back east anyway on rabies. It's pretty common back there. And it would be nice to know that they are vaccinated if you do get bitten. That's it.
All right, if there's no further comment, I will go ahead and close our public hearing section. We'll move on our agenda. Did everybody get a chance to look at the minutes from January 16th, 2024?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes dated January 16th, 2024.
Second.
All right, roll call.
Trustee Zazzaro.
Yes.
Trustee Harts.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Wolf.
Yes.
Trustee Ah.
Yay.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes. All right, moving on to our department reports.
Yeah, so just FYI, Trustee Hart's, our IT person may have texted you to get into your email, so FYI.
My phone was ringing. Great, thank you.
So that's not written in my report. Community Development, Killian, and Public Works Director Schultz, we attended the Pine River Irrigation District annual meeting, and they did talk about the fact that they're getting ready to adopt their draft recreation management plan. They plan to kind of have the final review on the 16th of February and probably adopt a week later. So they do have comments. They do have the comments I did provide for the town of Bayfield as well in that recreation plan. And as far as the election for April 2nd, we'll be here. It will be only in-person election. 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. I have reached out to the La Plata County League of Women Voters to get kind of a forum. It may be after the primary, which is in March. But at least I got a response back to say they'll look into it, but I have not received an affirmative. So in most of the small communities I've worked in, they assume that staff is going to tell them all about the elected officials, and that's really inappropriate for us to be providing any input on the candidates that are running for a seat. So wishing all of you the best of luck in the next couple months. We had Trustee Hartz join our leadership meeting maybe it was a month ago, and then we had, and the mayor typically comes to our leadership meeting, and if another trustee would like to come, certainly you're welcome. Can't be more than the mayor and one trustee, so if you're interested, just let me know so that we don't have to post or cancel the meeting because we have statutorily too many elected officials there. So our phone system has just been an ongoing, I'm going to call it a soap opera before long because I just cannot believe it'd be so difficult to update our phones. So I finally offered this coordination over to Kristen Dallison. She's been really good at some of these things, working with all the other departments, especially between the police department and town hall. And so I've kind of turned that over to her to look into basically a phone system so that we can actually be on the same phone system with the senior center, with the park shop, with Public Works, with some of the other offices that we really need a office phone system versus some of just the cell phone system. So hope to hear more on that someday. Most of it's been the fiber connections to some of the infrastructures has been kind of what they call the barrier, but then on the other hand, the phone system actually phones themselves. What I don't want to have happen is that we have a failure and we just can't answer a phone from town hall or the police department. So we're kind of getting to that point. And then the U.S. Department of Transportation, they awarded 160 between Durango and Bayfield, $59 million. So really thankful to Senator Bennett's office that basically got that through, notified me of that award as well. So that's what I have. I would like to certainly encourage you. I know that some of the elected officials may be leaving on this board, but we certainly encourage you to take the ICS training. Try to do that online. There is some requirements to at least some of those acronyms and what they mean. So anyway, there's a web email address a website if you'd like to go there and do that at home at your convenience. That's all I have, unless you have questions.
Well, moving on, Dustin, your report?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Board of Trustees. Just another IT update. I have been texting with our IT guy as well. Apparently the YouTube live stream is down. It is recording, but I was over there trying to reboot it and just keeps giving me an error message. So. All right. So in my report, some of it I'll just give some quick highlights because some of it's already happened. All the election packets have been turned in that went out. All have been verified with the Secretary of State. All of them are good to go. The Yokava ballots, got good news on that. The printer will have them done in time and those will mail out probably the 15th, but they're due to go out by the 16th. I also got word from the county clerk. She is going to send me some of the envelopes. There's very specific CRS wording on those Yokava ballots, so she's sending me some of those with the wording already on it, so that was great news today. It was a good news kind of day all around. I got word that the t-shirts are actually in print right now. The reusable jerseys will be out for the volleyball season that's coming. The bad news part of that is because of overseas availability, the first batch is only going to fulfill about 2/3 of what I ordered. They're back ordered out into July on that, so Apparently purple's very hard to get, but I had to have purple. Any other color was hard no. So on that. Youth basketball wrapped up last Saturday. It went really well. Turnout was great. DJ is keeping that gym packed full of events. Great things going on in there. One opportunity we have is referees. We're getting a lot of they're just too young right now. We're getting a lot of applicants, but they're 13, 14 years old. And you've got to be 16 to really not be a helper. So we are reaching out. We did 3 interviews the other day. We are going to extend an offer to one of those gentlemen. He is on the high school basketball team. Very outgoing kid. I think he's going to be great for the program. And we'll keep just looking. It's just a hard job for a lot of other people because it's so sporadic. I mean, you may work 1 Saturday a month, maybe 2, depending on it. But it was real hard this year because those kids were in their season and trying to work all at the same time. So DJ and Doug did a lot of the refereeing on their own. Youth volleyball, I spoke of it, opened on the 17th. It's getting ready to close. We had great turnout on that. And the first pickleball day will be this Thursday. We wanted to run it Thursday and Saturday afternoon. We got quite a bit of pushback on the Saturday afternoon. So we're going to keep as many as we can on Thursday evenings. And then once we finalize the practice schedules for the volleyball coaches, we may move Saturday into another weekday, like a Tuesday. We just really want to keep it open for those coaches because they are volunteers. They're volunteering their time, so they're very picky about when they can and can't coach. And that's about all I have. Any questions for me?
No?
Thank you.
All right.
All right, Mark, Parks and Trails.
Lots of exciting stuff for you this evening.
Yes, good evening. So park staff's been staying busy, just working on our vehicles and equipment. We have completed all of that. We are basically down to our attachments and our small lawn tools, and we should be done with that probably by the end of the week. Our V-plow came in for our Bobcat, which was great, and then our Snow X plow broke for the side-by-side. Both Corey and I tried to troubleshoot it and was unable to find a solution, so we sent it to Southwest Ag. They're working on it for us. The motor and the control module is out on it, so. I am currently seeking quotes for the shade structure at Mesa Park. Trying to figure out a few things. There's some power lines in that area, so Nicole and I are trying to make sure that we're okay to put that structure there. We've got to get a large enough structure that complies with the playground codes as far as being in the use zone. So a couple curveballs there, but I'm still working on that to get the correct size before we actually do place the order on that. We've done some minor facility stuff here at Town Hall and the Senior Center, furnace filters, stuff like that. Nothing major. The door, had fun with the door. And let's see, not a lot of snow removal, but we've been keeping up on that. As far as snow, I guess we do have quite a bit coming this week, so prepared for that. One new thing is we welcomed Joe Olay, I believe is how you say his name, is our new parks maintenance worker. Joe did 10 years with the casino as their grounds and facility maintenance supervisor. So he has a lot of experience, and he's really shown that already in just the week that he's been here. So very glad to have him on board and getting him welcomed to the team here. So, and that's all I have for you this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Moving on to our action agenda. Do we have any public input on items 5A through E on the agenda? A couple of those were in the public hearing. So if not, we will move on to our first item, the grocery store, Bayfield liquor license renewal.
So the applicant is in the room as well, if you have any questions regarding the renewal.
Looks like standard procedure, and there's no staff comments. Unless anyone has any questions from staff or from the applicant, entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the grocery store of Bayfield retail liquor license renewal.
I'll second that.
All right, any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Zazzaro.
Yes.
Trustee Harts.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Wolf.
Yes.
Trustee Ah.
Yay.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes. All right, moving on to ordinance 496. So this was our public hearing, our first public hearing.
That's
Do
easy.
you have any questions or comments or other?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a approval of ordinance 496, adopting the land use code text amendment for pet stores with the following finding A.
I had a question, right?
Yeah, you can ask. Go ahead and ask now.
Okay. I just have a question. This is kind of along the same line of Kyle talking about the paper. I am 100% for this. There's no drawbacks to it, but every day on Facebook, there's puppies and kittens and everything available, so I'm not sure there would ever be, I can't imagine ever needing a pet store, that's all.
Possible,
So,
yeah. We don't know, I mean,
that's
yeah,
all.
yeah.
But there's nothing that we can connect to the Facebook to prevent.
I'm guessing they're not getting them from puppy mills. They're probably having
probably just
dogs
home
and
breeders.
cats that are
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that will
So
have to-
instead of a pet
are
store,
Supply as a
accidental
kennel.
breeders.
home.
Yeah. Yeah.
There we go. Okay, thank you.
Which are different. Yeah, breeders are different than the puppy mills.
No, these aren't breeders. These are
Well-
just people on Facebook daily.
But they might not be breeders on purpose, but somehow they possibly bred dogs or cats, and they're trying to get rid of them. Or they're not puppy mills, is what I'm saying.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
This is
Got it.
Probably the
specific
best
to
way
the
to say it.
mill.
got it.
All right, we do have a motion on the table.
Was it second?
No, not-
I think
no,
we
it
stopped
wasn't.
to get a question answered.
Still needs a second.
Still needs a second.
All right, Tom second. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Zazzaro.
Yes.
Yes, whoops.
She got her computer back on. She's
She's like ready to go.
No, he gave me the wrong password.
Oh, Trustee Harts.
Oh,
Yes.
that's me.
All right, Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Wolf.
Yes.
Trustee Ah.
Yay.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes. All right, ordinance 497. Are there any other questions or comments on that one?
Now, Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 497, adopting the code amendments for Chapter 3, Animals and Fowl.
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Zazzaro.
Yes.
Trustee Harts.
Yes,
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Wolf.
Yes.
Trustee Ah.
Yay.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes. All right, resolution 606, dog license fee.
I'd like to note that I am 3 of those 54 dogs that is paid. Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve resolution 606, adopting the new fee schedule.
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion from the board? Roll call.
Trustee Zazzaro.
Yes.
Trustee Harts.
yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Wolf.
Yes.
And Trustee Ah.
Yay.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes. All right, resolution 607.
So 607, every year we look at the HUTF, the Highway User Tax reports, and determine if there's any changes, any overlays that are eligible to consider an update to streets, new streets, widening streets. In 2023, there were no changes that were eligible. However, this list is always important as the town develops to know exactly what the inventory was at the time. It's also a little transparency because this is how tax is paid to the town based on the amount of streets that we have and the maintenance level of streets as well.
So I have a question.
Yes.
Under condition of the road, it's PG, I don't know what were the letters now?
It's
PG
poor, good, or fair. Those are the abbreviations.
Okay.
Are there any other
Reading it
questions
wrong.
on your street?
On a couple of them, I'm like, really? This can't be right. Thought it
Who
was-
did this? Just kidding.
Well, right, I didn't, my bad.
Where's that pothole over there?
I'm like, these roads couldn't have passed, there's no way.
All right, if there are no further questions, I would entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 607, authorizing Mayor Tarkington and Town Clerk Hayden to execute the signature page and forward to CDOT.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Zazzaro.
Yes.
Trustee Hartz.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Wolf.
Yes.
Trustee Ah.
Yay.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes. All right, moving on to our financial action agenda. This is a doozy of one. I would,
Well, we'll start with the December 2023 financial statement.
yes. Financial statements.
I don't have anything to add to my report, unless you have some questions, but everything ended the year as we expected. We're still waiting for sales tax that will come in the first couple of months for November and December. That will still get journaled back into 2023. And what else are we waiting for? As per Resolution 591, the Equipment Replacement Fund has been terminated and transferred into the Capital Improvement Fund. So that's done. You'll see that come January, there's no Equipment Replacement Fund. Well, in December, there's not.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's okay, go ahead.
Did it make a stop before it got to the capital improvement? I can't get to my notes, but oh, wait, I do. Never mind, continue. It's okay. Go ahead. I just have a question when I get to it, but it'll take me a minute.
Interest earned in December was $49,000, and so that put us a little over $500,000 for the year of 2023. Interest on our accounts from Caller Trust.
Nice.
Yep.
Let's hope that continues.
Yeah, hope that continues, for sure.
Did you find your?
Did you find your question?
I'm not gonna, it's okay.
You can ask.
I can ask
You
next
can
time.
ask me later.
Yeah,
That's fine.
I'll ask you later.
Do you have any other questions on the December 2023 financial statements? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the December 2023 financial statements.
I'll second that.
All right, roll call.
Trustee Zazzaro.
Yes.
Trustee Hartz.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Wolf.
Yes.
Trustee Ah.
Yay.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes. All right, moving on to the January 2024 disbursements. Do you have any questions or comments on those? If not, I would entertain a motion to accept the disbursements.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to accept the January 2024 disbursements.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Zazzaro.
Yes.
Trustee Hartz.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Wolf.
Yes.
Trustee Ah.
Yay.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes. Okay. Now we get into the nitty-gritty part of this. How do you want to approach this, Katie?
Oh, boy. So I think the toughest thing about this is that we were kind of through kind of a tough budget season, and we get to November where we think we had it, and there's still that chance that we can finish some of these projects, and more than anything, some of these large projects just do not get finished. So in the trying to organize really how to even present this, I went through this numerous different ways. I gave you the 6.C.1 and then 6.G. Roman numeral 7. They got kind of overwhelming even to myself. So then I put it in a spreadsheet so that I could at least understand kind of where we were. So on the agenda, actually on page 3 of my notes I gave you, I tried to put it basically in funds versus in the normal agenda system. So in the general fund, we have 50 in all of these requests, and they were not budgeted for 2024. All those requests include $57,492.94. And in the general fund is the only place where, because some of the Spillman was actually budgeted for 2022 and approved then, that's the major portion of that that will reduce the reserves in the general fund. In the capital improvement fund, or items that are in the general fund that are capital, there's $52,000, and basically we can transfer that from the capital improvement fund. Like I explained kind of through the budget season, is that we have funding in the capital improvement fund, we have adequate reserves versus trying to take it out of operations. So this is where some of those other expenditures would move to. And then the sewer fund, all of these in the sewer fund were budgeted in 2023. There were adequate reserves ending in 2023 to cover those, but they never got finished. By statutory requirement, you're going to have to basically approve these and at some point have a public hearing on a budget supplement for all of these, basically because they were not budgeted. So you're not going to be over in expenditures for anything because it just happens to be the 1st of February. But typically what I would do is have a first and second and third quarter budget supplement if it was necessary. In this case, you're going to have a budget supplement. Probably April 2nd will probably be the date. And then the water fund is the same way. The SCADA, there's reserves adequate because we thought we would finish it and we didn't. And then the street fund, the only thing that's a little bit different is the $2,900 for the snow plow. Everything else we assumed we would have spent towards the end of 2023. Our snowstorm kind of took our East Mill Gateway finishing completion almost off the table, plus we're also waiting for a grate, from my understanding, storm grate, that's backed up. But that's a grant. There's 200, is it 100, all of a sudden I forget, 100, anyway, that's, RMS stands for Revitalization of Main Street Grant. Sorry. So if you look at it per fund, that's what it looks like. And you go back to my notes. You can motion to approve, deny, or continue all these separately if that's the way you'd like to handle these. I mean, that's your call. You may wish to approve by motion all highlighted items. So these were all budgeted in 2023, and they're on the next page and the following page. Or I would say my recommendations is you kind of go in the order of 1 through 6. So decommission, the 2021, 2022, and 2026. This is revenue. How much revenue? I can't tell you how much. I can't even guess.
We got our guy on it. He'll send them to auction.
What these vehicles will bring. Number two would be the Public Works, basically approve all of those or deny or continue all of those in Public Works and all highlighted items budgeted in 2023. So that would be Parks, Public Works, and the plow. The plow is the only thing that's not carryover from 2023. Motorola, their response is that, well, by the way, it's binding. We signed it in 2022. We say we budgeted in 2022. So it's hard to back out. On the other hand, we've spent a lot of resources in getting Spillman up implemented. So it's not like we haven't spent a whole lot of money up to this point. The senior center hot water heater, I believe that they would like hot water at the senior center, and it's 15 years old, and it is time to replace that hot water heater.
Katie, does the hot water heater impact any kind of food preparation or handling?
The dishwasher has to be overheated to to get it up to temperature to sterilize, and they're using paper plates.
Yeah, paper and plastic.
Yeah,
Okay.
paper and plastic right now,
So
just
that
to
hot
avoid
water
that.
heater would assist in this,
Well, something, the hot water heater didn't notify us it was gonna go out, and it
oh,
did.
no, I'm just saying that if we didn't want to replace this, it impacts the
Yeah.
ability to do food service.
That's
Safely
I'm sorry, I
used,
didn't hear
right?
what you said. I
Okay, sorry,
apologize for that.
that's where I was getting at. I was like, this could, it might need
Yeah,
to
and
be
hand
replaced.
washing and,
Yeah,
it's-
okay.
How big's that hot water heater?
That's, I would actually like to hear more about this.
100 gallons. Big,
I just had no clue they were
The senior
that
center needs a
expensive.
100-gallon hot water heater?
I mean, that's what I'm saying, is that the
I mean,
specs?
a Ford only needs a 50-gallon one.
Yeah. I mean, I have a certain spec that I have to have at the bar. They tell me because of your occupancy, you gotta have this size. And it's nowhere near that. So,
Maybe a commercial kitchen requirement, I don't know.
I don't,
I'm assuming that that's a
That's-
code that had to be in there, but I have no idea.
And it's got a motherboard on it? For what?
It's got for ignition to light, it's got an automatic ignition on it.
so does mine.
Oh,
Yeah.
well.
Replace
So
that.
so's the one in my house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I can get one for my house for
But the
under
fact of the
$2,000,
matter is it's
I
15
think.
years
I
old.
haven't priced
You
one in
get
15 years.
10 years out of a water heater, you're doing great, so.
No, I know that. I'm struggling with the price. I know that this is
Yeah.
like
And I
they
did.
need to get this
I
fixed.
looked online, they shot us a price of $21,000 to replace it. I was blown away too. I looked online, you can purchase a brand new one between 8 and 12. So they're trying to charge $8,000 to $10,000 for installation, a warranty. So my thought is, we'll buy the water heater, install it, and have it inspected, and, save
That's what he's saying.
$10,000.
You could put it in. And you
Buy it
feel
ourselves
confident you
then.
could put that in?
Yeah, it's a set. The hardest part of that is to carry it out of there and get the new one in. It's in a small confined space. It's a very big unit.
It's a commercial building, I mean, being so far away.
It
Yeah.
could be,
Yeah, well, we
I
can check
thought-
with our inspector, but I think a licensed plumber has to do a commercial building, so.
So, just like Ashley, is there someplace we can go to check and find out the specifics for the commercial kitchen?
so
To make sure we're
Elevate
getting the right-
basically spent, I don't know how long their plumber, and they
Yeah.
looked at it and investigated it, and actually, I heard the first number was $26,000.
Holy
And so it did come down from the first item up, but if not, we go out to other plumbers, commercial plumbers, and get
Well,
bids.
good luck getting one to call you back right now. I mean,
My-
that's,
My question is, for the facility, do we have the right size? Are we looking at something that's too big for the facility?
You'd have to get an architect or somebody that's a professional, and that's why we hired
because It was my health inspection,
That's-
back
yeah,
in the
that's
day
what
when I
I'm
put the
thinking.
kitchen in. That's what,
So wouldn't more, so it's not a health inspection thing, not a
I
health
don't think it's a
department.
health inspection, I just think it's a
It'd be a building code
building
question.
code.
And we can confirm that we're getting the right quote by talking to our building inspector, and he can look at the codes. Or our plumbing inspector can make sure that we're getting the right, size water heater. I couldn't tell you, so
Yeah,
I'd have to
right.
ask the
Dan,
professionals.
besides
The specifications on the old water heater, you can't buy the same model as the old one. They don't make
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
The new one is the same specification as the old one. It's same size, same gallon, same connections, everything, height, width. It's exactly like the old one. So as far as connecting it, if we can get the old one out, get the new one in, let a licensed plumber come in
Just
and
come
do
in, check it off.
the gas, the electrical, and, charge us $300-400 to do that instead of 20
yeah,
some
holy.
odd thousand, is my thought.
You probably ought to have Dan at least look at that and make sure we're within code, because who knows if the code's changed in 15 years if it doesn't. More than likely, it's gotta be bigger.
It could. Mhm.
Yeah, the way the codes are, I mean, we
Right, so
adopted
we
the
wanna
new
make sure
building
we have-
codes, I'm sure. We don't know.
Or,
If we put in an old one, then we got another problem. Then we're buying another one for
mhm.
30 grand.
So can this come back to the board after Dan has made a recommendation? Or do we need to be approving an amount right now without knowing?
That is your call. We're just out of hot water.
Yeah,
and-
yeah, I mean,
and
that's a
for-
problem.
I'd say just get it done.
Okay.
That's me.
We can go out for quotes between now and before we say anything about purchasing one ourselves, even purchasing one ourselves, when will it, how far out?
And I found it's probably gonna take a month for it to get here.
Oh, good
So,
lord.
The longer we wait, the longer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So what we can do is, if you are inclined to approve it, we can still check and make sure we're getting the right one. And if it goes up, maybe we come back, but maybe we can reduce the cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would be our goal.
Holy cow.
Well, and if they're charging $8,000 or whatever to
Install.
install it, maybe they're not the right company to go with, too.
That's a good point.
But like I'm saying, I
That
mean,
seems
try to call a plumber right
ridiculous.
now, nobody's answering the phone.
That says, oh, it's the town, let's go
Yeah.
ahead and just charge them whatever we want.
Yeah,
They'll
they-
pay
they
for
were
it.
the only ones that answered the phone.
Yeah.
I
It-
did get a call like a
Okay.
day later from a few others, but they had already came and diagnosed it.
Okay. Well, they need hot water. That's,
Well, I like the idea of just saying, let's approve it, but please
Save us
try
money.
to save us some money if you can.
So, and then the fifth motion could be regarding the police department's second vehicle. And maybe I'll let Chief Hoagay provide just a little bit of his justification for that item.
We're getting ready to install utility in-car cameras in all of our cars. In December, one of our vehicles broke down. It has issues and it cost us well over $2,000 to fix, so it's still sitting up in Public Works, so I don't want to fix it. So that's one of the vehicles that we're requesting to decommission. The 2011 Durango is being decommissioned because you can start it with your finger. The key doesn't even work anymore, you just then the 2012 Durango, or 2012 Charger is basically out of commission as well, so we're trying to get rid of all three of those cars. And with utility coming in, I really don't want to put a $15,000 camera system into a car I know in 2025 I'm going to be moving out. It's going to cost me a lot of money to move all that gear into a newer vehicle. And with Kansas Highway Patrol and the way we've been setting this up is that I can buy a Kansas Highway Patrol vehicle with lights, sirens, a center console, controllers, everything, and the front bumpers made for police cars for $32,000. And then it costs me I only have to buy a cage, a trunk box, and then stripe it to put it on the streets.
And you're saving, I mean,
It-
28 to,
So I'm going from, with the build, about 42 to 45,000, compared to if I buy a new police vehicle off, if you can find them, which range from 55 to 65, depending on where you can find them. And then it cost me 17 to 20,000 to outfit them. So doing a Kansas Highway Patrol vehicle for a total of getting it on the street for about 45,000
versus 90.
versus 90 for one car almost. So I'm asking, we have some money left over in the budget, but not enough to buy it and outfit it. So this $20,000 I'm requesting is to buy it and outfit it, put it on the street with the funds we already have in that budget line.
Can you clarify? So is it in the budget?
No, 70,000 is in the budget. That got one vehicle for 45,000.
Gotcha, okay.
We're
So
basically
But you
getting
have,
2 for 90.
you have $25,000 left over, and then another 20,000 would get you a second vehicle.
And is this where we have to reduce our reserves in order to,
This is actually from capital.
oh, it's from capital,
Yeah.
okay. That makes me feel better.
I mean, that's, you know, it's either that or he turns around next year and says, I need a brand new one for 90, you know?
Yeah, then the other issue that comes back is how many vehicles, how long's a vehicle last? 3 to 5 years? Are they all gonna go out at once and then we're gonna be back to buying 3 vehicles in
We've redesigned.
1 year again?
We've redesigned how we're handling our fleet now. I do have a fleet manager within our department. We are monitoring everything that's going on with all the vehicles. It just so happens when I took over the department, we had
Nobody was watching.
only 2 vehicles built in 2021. Everything else was 2017 and older. So all those vehicles were costing us sometimes $3,000 to $5,000 a year in repairs.
Yeah,
And the vehicles like the Dodge Durango that were decommissioning is maybe worth $3,000. And the one 2017 Dodge Charger 16 that needs $2,500 worth of repairs may be only worth $2,500. So I'm trying not to fix older cars to save us money for the future. And so the way we're redesigning, plus Kansas Highway Patrol program will be going on forever. And we'll be able to purchase their vehicles, which have 49,500 miles, come almost fully equipped for half the price of what it cost me to buy a new one.
So,
And they'll
yeah,
stay in the inventory for a good 5 to 7 years.
so your repair and maintenance for vehicles in 2020, it was 18,000. In 2021, it was 19,000. In 2022, we budgeted $46,000 because we're just repairing old vehicles. Now, we were hoping that we stopped doing that, but looking at these other vehicles that we may have to keep in service, we're spending a lot on vehicle maintenance. And you have a good point, Trustee Yaw, that yes, we may be replacing them all at the same time. I have, Kristen Dallison, basically is also going to do an equipment, vehicle replacement list, just with the, police department's fleet manager, in addition to parks and public works. So there may be a chance vehicle may not be, useful in the police department. It could be go to code enforcement or go to parks or go somewhere else. So that's the other thing that we're also looking at as well.
Do we need to purchase a new vehicle before we decommission the other 3, or they're ready to be decommissioned
They're ready
now?
to be decommissioned.
For lack of better terms, they're all up on blocks at Public
Yeah, they're
Works.
not.
Okay.
Their the license plates are taken off. We can't drive them safely on the roadway.
Okay. If we sell these or get a buy bid or auction them, can those funds go back into this
Yes,
pool?
it
Can we
could.
get a buy bid? Like, is there a way to get a buy bid from the auction company? It's 80% of what it's gonna auction at. I'm just saying, for an arbitrary, not completely arbitrary number, if we knew you could sell those 3 vehicles for $10,000, that could give the board a little bit of assurance of, okay, at the end of the day, it's actually only gonna cost us an additional 10.
So the program we use is public surplus.
Okay.
And the way it works is, we'll say, $7,000 for this vehicle, and then there's a reserve limit, you have to, hit 6,500, and then we can sell it to you. If not, we have the right to hold it,
Gotcha.
so we don't necessarily have that buy bid.
Okay.
that you're talking about.
But it, like, even speaking to the auction company, they can't give you like like there's thousands of companies like in Vegas that'll give a buy bid. Like you could call and ask to buy your truck right now from me. Will they give you any type of a number?
Public surplus don't do that, but there are other places we can go that. we can-
I'm just kind of simply asking like if we can get some sort of a guess.
Statutory requirements to liquidate government surpluses.
Yeah, it's gotta be competitive.
It's all bought with tax dollars, so it has to be sold through a public auction.
Sure.
Where a public auction is not necessarily gonna give you that,
Guarantee,
assurance of
yeah.
what they're gonna assess the value for. So,
Do we have any idea of what the value of those 3 cars
I
is?
don't know, we saw some stuff was gonna go for $2,500 and we got $8,000.
Okay.
We sold a 1995 plow truck for $8,000, the nicest thing on it was tires.
Okay. So there's a good there's a good chance we could offset some of this.
Oh, yeah,
All right.
yeah.
I feel
But it will bring revenue.
okay.
What we've seen with this website is it turns into a bidding war.
Okay.
So they drive the price up on themselves, and
Gotcha.
we make substantial money from doing it.
That's why I said we got our guy up.
How far away are we from getting these decommissioned? Are we 6 months away
My
from?
answer is yes, and I'll have it done by tomorrow.
That's how fast we work.
They're ready, they're over it.
That's
Taking
a-
up space.
that's a team.
Get these things out of here.
Before somebody gets the idea to fix them.
Yeah.
And then the last one is basically the threat protection and a network connection to the park shop. Currently, right now, the parks we got to email things back and forth. They don't have a connection. And DataSafe is saying that the senior center connection to our network will fail because it's outdated as well. So that's the last $14,372 in that item, if that's the way you decide to go through this list. And I apologize for this list. I had never assumed we would get here, but
Yeah, it was a little daunting opening that packet the other day. Yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of how you want to attack it, so feel free to ask questions, clarification. I mean, the items that are highlighted, I'm pretty comfortable on, and then, well, I mean, I'm pretty comfortable on with all those explanations now. So we should probably attack it this way. I'm just looking for direction on the board.
Curious as to what it's gonna look like, even though it's unbudgeted in this year, but we approved it last year, like for instance, the reusable shirts. It took 6 or 8 months to kind of get to the point of being able to write the check, you know, so from a public perspective, what does that look like when we're gonna have to, it's
Have
gonna
a
have to come back to a public hearing,
Budget
or,
supplement,
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like we just came off, granted, different kitties of money, but we just came off of like reaching out to the public, and now all of a sudden we're gonna go, well, hey, we're adding this. It's like, I understand what's happening, but I feel like at least when this does come back around, if these get approved, I think that there needs to be something that explains what's happening here. This is not coming out of our, it's coming out of capital
Yeah, I mean-
funds. I don't know, maybe I'm looking at it differently, but.
No, I think we're always going to have that issue with the public because they don't understand how government finances work and budgeting and that sort of thing. I mean, I can't even tell you how many conversations I've had with people where they just didn't understand that Parks and Rec and what we do in Parks and Rec has absolutely nothing to do with fixing a building or, I mean, you have these different funds and they are their own entity. and people just don't get it.
Katie, I have a question for you. So these were all approved last year, so these were in last year's budget, for the most part.
Most of them.
Most, sorry,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
correction. So since this money wasn't spent last year, where is it hanging out right now?
It's in your reserves.
Reserve, okay,
Yeah.
so when we're looking at our 2024 budget, these amounts that are in here that we just didn't get to purchase in last year, that money is still there. But
That's
some of
correct.
them have changes now because it cost, we've seen this during the year where we get a quote and then by the time we can, get to that point, the price has gone up, right? So really the concern here is more of the unbudgeted items.
That's correct.
But it's unbudgeted because we didn't have it approved and budgeted in 2023. It has nothing to do with the 2024 budget?
That's,
Right.
yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I'm understanding that.
It wasn't appropriated for 24. So the 23 funds that we're asking you to carry over to 24 were appropriated in 23. But in this year's budget, the balance that's remaining on those projects for completion wasn't appropriated in the 24 budget. So the dollars are still there in 23, but in order to have a balanced budget for the appropriations, we're asking you to carry those funds over to complete these projects that weren't able to be finalized in 23.
Okay, no, I understand that. I mean, the money's still there, but if some of them have gone up, I mean, that's where there's a difference, but it seems like, when I'm looking at the public works things, we approved $30,000, but it's now $22,000, right?
Yeah, because that project started. I'd be happy to walk you through the list. I mean, I just listed a laundry list of reasons why they weren't completed, but each of them has a different portion, whether it's supply chain, weather.
Or a portion of it got finished. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're not, when I'm looking at this and it's $236,003.86 unbudgeted, well, actually, we approved $22,773,126.
It was unbudgeted in 2024.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
but the money was approved and was there.
That's
I'm
correct.
hoping, right?
It
And
was-
so actually, it's coming in under, now that we're getting it done.
No,
right? Or
that's
no?
not correct. So let's just round off numbers. Maybe there was $30,000 that was approved in 2023. And 10,000 of it was spent in 2023.
Okay. I
And
see.
then we had $20,000 that couldn't finish the project. So the thing is that it's unbudgeted in 2024.
Okay.
It was, it's kind of like the door closed in
It's a way to
2023, period.
justify
Okay.
Yeah.
the spending.
No, okay, so it's not a savings.
Not
it's-
not
it
that
just-
the project went over
Okay,
or
the
under.
project just didn't get finished,
Yeah.
okay. So for any of these that are unbudgeted, I mean, I know the money is there, the total cost hasn't changed, that's what I'm asking. Okay, yeah, so, okay. Unless it specifies that.
Unless it
had changed.
specifies
Okay.
that.
Okay.
I just like, unless there's.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve in this order. 1, decommission the 2011, 2012, and 2016 vehicles. 2, Public Works and all highlighted items budgeted in 2023. That's 6EI, 6EII, 6F, 6GI, 6GII, 6GIII, 6GIV, 6GV, 6GVI, and 6GVII. And then number 3, per the signature on the Spillman quote is binding, and so let's go ahead and approve 6DIII. The senior center hot water heater with the notion that we're going to try to get it a little bit lower, but not to exceed that, what was it, $21,000? And the police department's second vehicle, 6DII, and then the remaining expenses totaling $14,372.40 for the computer software and IT, 6CII and 6H.
Second, and thank you.
You're welcome.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Zazzaro.
Yes.
Trustee Harts.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Wolf.
Yes.
Trustee Ah.
Yay.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes. Holy moly. Okay. All right, where do we have to pick up?
So the last one is under budget. So we budgeted $25,000 in the water fund and $25,000 in the sewer fund for a sewer and water rate study update. So Plummer basically did the rate study in 2019. After we had 2 years of data from our rate reconfiguration, we would like to do another rate study by this the same firm that had done that. We did not go out for bids at this time because we believe that the engineer that has been very responsive even to request for proposal did a really good job on the last rate study, and we're asking him to do this rate study for the town. You know, from the day I got here, I have concerns that your sewer rates are too high and your water rates are too low, but that's just my feeling. I have, you know, there's a lot of ways we can go about this. Plummer also has basically developed the wastewater capital improvement plan and the water improvement plan. So I'd certainly defer to Public Works Schultz if he would like to provide, you know, additional information about why we're making this recommendation.
That's awesome. Plummer and Associates, currently FEI. They're also the same engineering firm that did the water treatment facility, the development review. We used them for our storage tank analysis with all the development that we had. So this company has a good understanding of our water system, and I think that it would be appropriate for them to do the rate study. One of the concerns that has come up with using a different engineer is the learning curve that I think that you would have as far as staff time and then necessarily providing data and basically retraining a different engineering firm. Plummer's worked at the town for, gosh,
15, 20 years.
20 years. So
Institutional
I think
knowledge.
it'd be appropriate to use them for this project. That's up to you guys.
So aren't they the same ones that we used prior?
Mhm. And they're the
And
same
the-
one that did the water line replacement. So it's the same engineering firm.
Okay.
And they came in under. That's best news all day.
So they did the rate study though, not
Yeah.
from a few
And,
years
yeah.
ago? But isn't that the one that was kind of goobered?
No.
It was
No.
done on ERTs, which
Which we gave them the wrong thing
We
to
moved
stay away
Gotcha,
from.
okay, so we gave them the wrong stuff, okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure it wasn't them. I like the fact that they came in under budget as well, so.
All right. Questions, comments?
Where's the motion? Do you need a motion from us?
Yeah, I'll just entertain a motion to approve Plummer.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the sewer and water rate study update plumber budget proposed amount of $37,000.
I'll second that.
All right, any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Zazzaro.
Yes.
Trustee Hartz.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Wolf.
Yes.
Trustee Ah.
Yay.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes. Ooh, that wasn't it.
So just one comment regarding this rate study is the professional services agreement, also known as a PSA. Would there be any further motion regarding who would authorize that? Or would you like to see that come back through review by the Board of Trustees?
Oh, no.
Let's have somebody
one with them
authorize it.
already? No, like a master service?
This would just be a new one
Okay.
for this item specifically and based on their quote that they provided.
Yeah, I would enter-
Authorize Katie to.
staff.
Staff to sign it. Make a
Okay.
motion to authorize town staff to sign the
PSA.
PSA for $37,000, not to exceed.
We have a motion.
I'll second that.
Second. Roll call.
Trustee Zazzaro.
Yes.
Trustee Hartz.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Wolf.
Yes.
Trustee Ah.
Yay.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes. All right, we survived it. That wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. All right, We have planning commission on the 13th, next town board meeting on the 20th. Any other,
I'll be at the meeting tomorrow morning.
you're coming?
Awesome, thank you.
All right, I will adjourn this meeting. It is 8:10.
Is that 8 or 8:30?
8:30.
Okay.
Since we're not staying.
Oh, yeah, as I say that, the next door app pops up. It's like, my cat is.
No, I don't always have availability.